The rain was pouring as Amara's suitcase hit the ground outside the Han family mansion. Get out of my house. Joon-hyuk stood in the doorway, his face cold. Amara looked up at the man she had once loved more than anything. You lied to me. I never lied to you. She wiped the tears from her face. Then ask your mother why she told my mother to disappear. Joon-hyuk froze. What did you just say? Amara reached into her bag and pulled out an old photograph. His father's face was in it. So was her mother's. But what terrified Joon-hyuk wasn't the photograph. It was the date written on the back. The photograph had been taken 3 years after his father was supposed to have ended all contact with her. Joon-hyuk stared at Amara. Where did you get that? She stepped closer. From my mother's grave. And then she whispered, your father didn't abandon us. Your family made sure he could never come back. 6 months earlier, Amara had never imagined that her mother's death would be the thing that finally sent her halfway across the world. For 24 years, she had lived with one unanswered question. Who was her father? Whenever she asked her mother, Ngozi would change the subject. Sometimes she would become angry. Sometimes she would simply walk away. But on the night before she died, everything changed. Amara had been sitting beside her mother's bed when Ngozi suddenly grabbed her wrist. Amara. Yes, Mama? If I don't wake up tomorrow, there is something you must do. Amara's heart tightened. Don't talk like that. Listen to me. Her mother's voice was weak, but her eyes were unusually serious. Go to Korea. Amara stared at her. Korea? Yes. Why? Ngozi looked toward the window. Because your father is there. Amara stopped breathing for a moment. My father? Her mother nodded. I should have told you a long time ago. Then tell me now. I can't tell you everything. Why not? Because some people would rather you never know. Amara leaned closer. Who? Her mother didn't answer. Instead, she whispered, when you get there, find the hotel in the photograph. What photograph? But her mother was already struggling to breathe. Amara called for help. That was the last real conversation they ever had. 2 days later, her mother was gone. Amara spent the next week going through her belongings, searching for anything that could explain what had happened. She found the photograph inside an old wooden box. Her mother was younger in it, much younger, standing beside a handsome Korean man in an expensive suit. On the back was written, Seoul, 2002. Beneath it was another sentence. If you want to know who your father is, go to Seoul. Amara's hands trembled. She turned the photograph over again. Then she noticed another line, written in darker ink. But never let the Han family find you. That sentence frightened her more than anything else. If the man was her father, why was his family dangerous? And who exactly were the Han family? She searched the man's name online. Kang Min-jae, former chairman of Han Group, one of South Korea's most powerful businessmen, dead for 7 years. Amara stared at his photograph on the screen. Her mother had spent 24 years refusing to tell her anything about this man. Now she knew his name, and she was going to Seoul. She sold some of her belongings, borrowed what she could, and bought a plane ticket. When the plane landed at Incheon International Airport, Amara stood still for several seconds. She had never been so far from home. People moved around her. Signs she could barely understand surrounded her. She tightened her grip on her suitcase. I'm here, she whispered, but she had no idea that someone had already been watching for her. 3 days after arriving in Seoul, Amara was nearly out of money. The room she had rented was tiny. Her savings were disappearing quickly. She needed work. That's how she ended up walking into a luxury hotel in central Seoul. The lobby looked nothing like anything she had seen back home. Everything was polished. Everything was expensive. And everyone seemed to know exactly who they were. Amara walked to the reception desk. Excuse me, I'm here about the housekeeping position. The receptionist looked at her. Do you have experience? Yes. Can you speak Korean? Not very well. The woman hesitated. Then she made a phone call. 20 minutes later, Amara was being interviewed by a supervisor. The job wasn't glamorous, but it paid enough. She accepted immediately. On her first morning, she walked into the staff corridor wearing her uniform. She had no idea that the hotel belonged to the same family her mother had warned her about. That changed when she saw the portrait. It hung at the end of the main hallway. A young Kang Min-jae stood in the center. Amara stopped. Her heart began pounding. That man! The supervisor turned. Mr. Kang. Amara pointed. Yes. Who is he? The supervisor looked surprised. You don't know? Amara shook her head. He founded the hotel. Amara stepped closer to the portrait. Her mother's photograph suddenly felt heavier in her pocket. The hotel wasn't just connected to her father's past. It was his hotel. She had unknowingly walked straight into the Han family's world. And she had no idea that the family's current heir was about to walk through the same doors. The elevator opened. Several executives stepped out. Then Joon-hyuk appeared. He was dressed in a dark suit, holding a phone in one hand. The entire hallway seemed to change. Employees straightened immediately. Amara didn't. She was still staring at the portrait. Joon-hyuk noticed. He walked toward her. Why are you standing here? Amara turned. I was looking at him. My father. Yes. Joon-hyuk studied her. Do you know him? No. It was technically true. Amara didn't know him. Not yet. Joon-hyuk looked at her uniform. You're new. Yes. Then learn something quickly. What? This isn't a place for tourists. Amara frowned. I work here. Then work. He walked away. Amara stared after him. What an arrogant man. Unfortunately, Joon-hyuk heard her. He stopped, turned, and looked at her. Did you say something? Amara smiled politely. No. He stared at her for another second before walking away. For the first time since arriving in Korea, Amara almost smiled. She didn't know it yet, but the cold Korean billionaire she had just insulted was going to become the most complicated person in her life. And he was going to be the last person she expected to trust. If you're already wondering what happened between these two people that could end with Amara being thrown out of the Han mansion, stay with the story. And if you enjoy emotional Nigerian and Korean drama stories like this, subscribe to Untold Afro-Korean Stories, because what Amara was about to discover inside that hotel would change everything. The next morning, Amara began asking questions. She waited until the lobby was quiet before approaching an elderly employee who had worked there for decades. His name was Mr. Park. She showed him the photograph. The moment he saw it, his expression changed. He didn't even look at Amara. He looked around. Then he lowered his voice. Where did you get this? It belonged to my mother. Mr. Park's face became pale. Your mother? You know her? He took a step backward. I don't know what you're talking about. You do. No. She stayed here. Mr. Park stared at her. Amara's voice softened. Please. My mother died without telling me anything about my father. He looked at her for a long moment. Then he whispered, You shouldn't be asking questions about that woman. Amara's stomach tightened. Why? Mr. Park walked away. Please forget it. But Amara wasn't going to forget. Not now. That afternoon, she found him again. This time, he was standing alone in a service corridor. She approached him. Mr. Park. He sighed. You don't understand. Then help me understand. He looked at the photograph again. Your mother came here a long time ago. When? 24 years ago. Amara's heart jumped. Why? He hesitated. Then he said, She was with Chairman Kang. Amara felt the floor disappear beneath her. Min-jae? Mr. Park nodded. Did he know she was pregnant? I don't know. You do know. Mr. Park looked at her. You have your mother's eyes. Amara swallowed. Please. He closed his eyes. Come back tonight. Why? I'll show you something. That night, Amara barely slept. She kept thinking about his words. Her mother had been here, with Min-jae, the man she believed might be her father. At midnight, she returned to the staff corridor. Mr. Park was waiting with an old key. This opens the archive room. Amara took it. Why are you helping me? He looked away. Because I promised your mother I would. Amara froze. You knew my mother personally? Mr. Park didn't answer. He opened the door. Inside were thousands of old documents. Amara spent almost an hour searching. Then she found it. A guest registration record. Her mother's name, Ngozi Okafor. Her hands began to shake. The date was 24 years old. She looked at the room number, 1708. Then she saw the name of the person who had personally checked her mother into the hotel. Kang Min-jae. Amara's eyes filled with tears. Her father. She whispered his name. Then she noticed something else. Under the guest details, the room had been registered under another designation. Not Ms. Okafor. Not guest. It said, Mrs. Kang. Amara stared at the page. Her mother had been registered as Kang Min-jae's wife. But Min-jae was already married. To Joon-hyuk's mother. Amara slowly covered her mouth. What happened in this room? A voice came from behind her. What are you doing? Amara turned. Joon-hyuk stood in the doorway, and he was staring directly at the document in her hands. Joon-hyuk's expression changed the moment he saw the name on the document. Where did you get that? Amara held the paper against her chest. Why? Answer me. I asked you first. He stepped into the archive room. This room is restricted. I work here. You don't have permission to access these records. And you don't have permission to tell me what I can ask about my own mother. Joon-hyuk stopped. Your mother? Amara turned the document toward him. My mother stayed here 24 years ago. He looked down. Then he saw the name. Ngozi Okafor. His father's name. His face went completely still. Who is she? Amara's voice trembled. She was my mother. Joon-hyuk looked at her. And why was she registered as Mrs. Kang? I was hoping you could tell me. He didn't answer. Amara watched his expression carefully. You knew something. I didn't. You recognized the name. I said I didn't. You're lying. His jaw tightened. You have no idea what you're talking about. And you have no idea what it feels like to spend 24 years wondering why your father never came back. Joon-hyuk stared at her. For the first time, his anger disappeared. What did you say? Amara swallowed. I came to Korea because I believe Kang Min-jae was my father. Silence filled the room. Joon-hyuk looked at the photograph sticking out of her bag. That's my father. Yes. Where did you get that? My mother kept it. He took the photograph. His eyes moved from his father's face to Amara's mother. Something about the image disturbed him. His father looked younger, happy. Joon-hyuk had never seen that expression on his father's face. Did your mother tell you he was your father? She told me to come to Korea and find him. But he's dead. I know. Then what exactly are you looking for? The truth. Joon-hyuk handed the photograph back. You should leave this alone. Amara stared at him. Why? Because my father is dead. That doesn't erase what he did. You don't know what he did. Neither do you. His expression hardened. You're right. He turned toward the door, then stopped. Don't ask anyone else about this. Amara frowned. Is that a threat? No. He looked over his shoulder. It's advice. Then he left. Amara watched him disappear. Something about his reaction bothered her. He wasn't angry because she was investigating his father. He looked frightened. The next day, Joon-hyuk couldn't concentrate. He kept thinking about the Nigerian woman, his father's photograph, the hotel record, the name Ngozi Okafor, and one question he had never considered. Why had his father never mentioned her? That evening, he opened an old box belonging to his father. He had avoided it since Min-jae's death. Inside were watches, letters, business cards, and old photographs. Joon-hyuk searched for anything connected to Nigeria. Nothing. Then he found a small hotel key. Room 1708. He froze. His father had kept it. Why? Meanwhile, Amara had her own discovery. Mr. Park was waiting for her. You shouldn't have shown that document to him. Why? He'll investigate. Good. Mr. Park shook his head. You don't understand the Han family. Then explain it. He looked at her. Your mother didn't leave Korea because she wanted to. Amara's heart stopped. What? She was forced to leave. By whom? Mr. Park looked toward the corridor. I can't say. Mr. Park. He lowered his voice. Your mother was afraid. Of my father? No. He looked directly into her eyes. Of the Han family. Amara remembered the note. Never let the Han family find you. Her stomach tightened. What did they do to her? Mr. Park opened his mouth. Then footsteps approached. He immediately stopped talking. A security officer appeared. Mr. Park, Chairman Kong is looking for you. Mr. Park nodded. As he walked away, he slipped something into Amara's hand. She looked down. A small piece of paper. One room number. 1708. That night, Amara went to the hotel room. It had been renovated years ago, but the number remained. She stood outside. Her hand trembled as she touched the door. Then it opened. Joon-hyuk was inside. He turned. What are you doing here? Amara stared at him. I could ask you the same thing. He looked at the old key in her hand. Where did you get that? Your father left it. Joon-hyuk went silent. Amara walked inside. This is where my mother stayed. I know. She turned sharply. You knew. I found the records. And, he hesitated. My father stayed here too. Amara stared at him. When? The same night. Her breath caught. Then he was my father. I don't know. You just said he was here. I said I don't know if he's your father. Amara's voice cracked. Then help me find out. Joon-hyuk looked at her. For several seconds, neither spoke. Then he said, I will. Amara didn't expect that. Why? Because I want to know what my father was hiding too. For the first time, they weren't enemies. They were two people searching for the same truth. They began examining the room. There was nothing. No hidden compartment. No documents. Nothing. Then Amara noticed a loose panel behind the wardrobe. She pulled it. A small envelope fell out. Joon-hyuk picked it up. His hands froze. The handwriting was his father's. He opened it. Inside was a single photograph. Amara took it. Her mother was standing beside Min-jae. But this time she was holding a newborn baby. Amara stared at the image. Then she looked at the date. Her face went pale. The photograph had been taken 3 years after her birth. She looked at Joon-hyuk. That's impossible. He didn't answer. That's my mother. I know. She left Korea before I was born. Joon-hyuk looked at the photograph. Apparently she didn't. Amara's hands began trembling. Then where was she? Before he could answer, Joon-hyuk's phone rang. It was his mother. He answered. Mother. There was a long silence. Then his face changed. What? He listened. His eyes moved slowly toward Amara. What did you say her name was? Amara's heart began pounding. Joon-hyuk lowered the phone. His mother had one question. Is the Nigerian girl with you? He looked at Amara. Yes. His mother's voice came through the speaker. Get her away from that photograph. Then the call ended. Amara stared at Joon-hyuk. Why did your mother say that? He didn't answer immediately. He looked at the photograph again. Then at her. I don't know. That isn't true. I said I don't know. Your mother knows my name. She knows your mother's name. She sounded afraid. Joon-hyuk remained silent. Amara stepped closer. Why is your family afraid of me? He looked at her. I don't think they're afraid of you. Then what are they afraid of? He had no answer. The next morning, Amara was called into the manager's office. Her supervisor wouldn't look her in the eye. You're being transferred. Transferred where? Another hotel. Why? It was a management decision. Which management? The supervisor remained silent. Amara understood immediately. The Han family wanted her gone. She packed her things. As she left the staff area, Joon-hyuk appeared. What happened? They fired me. Who? Your mother. His expression hardened. She has no right. She owns the hotel. I'll deal with it. Amara shook her head. No. Why? Because I don't need you to rescue me. I wasn't trying to rescue you. Then what were you trying to do? He looked at her. Help. She smiled sadly. You should be careful. About what? Helping me. Why? Because every time you help me, you discover something your family doesn't want you to know. He stared at her. Then he said quietly, maybe I'm tired of not knowing. That was the moment something changed between them. He reinstated her position himself. His mother was furious. But Joon-hyuk refused to reverse the decision. Their relationship became closer. They investigated together. They visited old records offices. They searched company archives. They interviewed retired employees. And in between the investigation, they began learning about each other. One evening, they sat in a quiet restaurant after a long day. Amara looked at him. You're always serious. I am not. You are. I smiled yesterday. Once. That counts. She laughed. Joon-hyuk smiled. Amara stared at him. What? You look different when you smile. He looked away. Don't get used to it. Too late. They both laughed. For the first time, the mystery wasn't the only thing connecting them. But while their relationship grew, someone else was watching. Joon-hyuk's mother. She saw the way her son looked at Amara. And she knew it had gone too far. She summoned Amara privately. Sit. Amara sat. The chairwoman placed an old photograph on the desk. It was a picture of Ngozi. You have your mother's eyes. Amara stared at her. You knew her. Yes. Then tell me the truth. I've told myself for years that the truth would eventually stay buried. What happened to my mother? The chairwoman looked away. She made a choice. What choice? To leave. That's not true. The older woman looked back at her. You don't know what happened. My mother told me she was forced to leave Korea. The chairwoman's expression changed. Who told you that? Someone who was here. Mr. Park. Amara didn't answer. The chairwoman stood. Stay away from my son. No. She looked surprised. You don't understand who you're dealing with. Neither do you. I am warning you. And I'm asking you a question. What? Why did my mother leave? The chairwoman stared at her. Then she said, because your mother was going to destroy this family. Amara's face went blank. What? She knew something. What did she know? I won't tell you. Then I'll find out myself. The chairwoman stepped closer. If you continue, you will lose more than your job. Amara looked directly at her. I've already lost my mother. Then she walked out. But as she reached the corridor, she heard a voice behind the door. The chairwoman was speaking to someone on the phone. She knows. A pause. No. She found the room. Another pause. Then, we have to stop her before she finds the ledger. Amara froze. The ledger? She quietly walked away. That night, she told Joon-hyuk, your mother said my mother was going to destroy your family. He frowned. Destroy us how? I don't know. Did she mention anything else? She mentioned a ledger. Joon-hyuk's expression changed. What? A ledger? My father kept financial records. Then find it. He looked at her. Why would my mother be afraid of an old financial record? Maybe because it contains something she doesn't want you to see. They searched his father's office. Nothing. Then Joon-hyuk remembered something. My father had a private study. Where? My grandmother's old house. They went there. The house had been closed for years. Inside, dust covered the furniture. Joon-hyuk opened cabinets. Nothing. Amara searched the bookshelves. Then she noticed a book that didn't match the others. She pulled it. A hidden drawer opened. Inside was a stack of bank statements. Joon-hyuk took them. His face changed. What? He handed one to her. It showed repeated transfers from his father's personal account to Nigeria. For 20 years. Amara stared at the name. Samuel Okafor. Her uncle. Why was your father sending money to my uncle? Joon-hyuk shook his head. I don't know. Amara picked up another statement. Same name. Another year. Another transfer. Then another. She whispered. He was paying him every year. Joon-hyuk looked at her. For what? Before Amara could answer, her phone rang. It was an international number. She answered. Hello. A man's voice said, Amara? Who is this? This is Samuel. Her uncle. Amara's heart raced. Uncle. His voice trembled. Where are you? Seoul. Silence. Then, you shouldn't have gone there. Why? Because your mother made me promise. Promise what? That I would never tell you what happened. Amara tightened her grip on the phone. I need to know. You don't understand. Then explain it. Her uncle took a shaky breath. Your mother didn't leave Korea because of the chairman. Then why? Because someone threatened you. Amara's eyes widened. Me? You were a baby. Who threatened me? Before he could answer, the call disconnected. Amara stared at the phone. Joon-hyuk looked at her. What happened? She slowly raised her eyes. My mother wasn't running from your father. Then who? I don't know. But neither of them noticed the car parked outside the house. Inside it, someone watched the lights, then made a call. She knows about the money. A voice replied. Then it's time to make her leave Korea. The next morning, Amara received a message. Leave Seoul before it is too late. There was no number attached. She showed Joon-hyuk. He immediately took her phone. Don't reply. Why? Because whoever sent this wants you frightened. They know where I am. I know. Then maybe I should leave. No. Amara looked at him. You just said someone is threatening me. And that's exactly why you're not leaving alone. You can't protect me. I can try. She stared at him. Why do you care so much? He didn't answer. Instead, he said, because I don't want anything to happen to you. The words stayed between them. Amara looked away. Neither spoke for several seconds. Then Joon-hyuk quietly took her hand. She didn't pull away. But the danger around them was getting closer. That afternoon, Joon-hyuk investigated the bank transfers. He discovered something strange. The money had never been sent as a gift. Every transfer had a coded reference. 17-08. The same room number. Room 1708. He stared at the records. Why would my father use that number? Amara looked at him. Maybe because that's where everything started. They returned to the hotel. Joon-hyuk requested the original room records. The archive employee refused. He said the records were confidential. Joon-hyuk used his authority. The file was brought to him. Inside was a handwritten note. If anything happens to me, give this to Ngozi. Amara's eyes filled with tears. Her mother had been expected to receive something. But what? Joon-hyuk searched the archive. Then they found a second document. Private agreement. It appeared to show that Ngozi had accepted a large payment from Min-jae and agreed never to return to Korea. Amara stared at it. That's why she left. Joon-hyuk looked uncomfortable. Maybe. No. She picked up the document. This signature is wrong. How do you know? My mother signed everything with her middle name included. The document didn't. Someone had forged it. Joon-hyuk examined the paper. There was a company seal. But something was wrong. This seal wasn't used until 3 years later. Amara looked at him. So the document was created after my mother left. Exactly. Someone had forged evidence to make it appear she had willingly disappeared. Who? Joon-hyuk didn't know. But there was one person who might. His uncle. Amara called Samuel again. This time he answered. Uncle, I found the agreement. Silence. It was forged. He sighed. I knew you would find it eventually. Tell me the truth. Your mother didn't leave willingly. Who forced her? Someone from the Han family. Who? He hesitated. Then said, your mother's problem wasn't the chairman. Then who? The chairman's wife. Amara froze. Joon-hyuk's mother? Yes. Joon-hyuk heard the answer. His face changed. Why? Samuel said, because your mother knew what the chairman was trying to expose. What? The truth about the company. Joon-hyuk stepped closer. What truth? Samuel hesitated. Then the call suddenly ended. Joon-hyuk stared at the phone. His father's entire legacy suddenly looked different. That night, Joon-hyuk confronted his mother. "You Noon-gozi." She looked at him. "Where did you hear that name?" "From Amara." His mother became silent. "Did you force her to leave Korea?" "No. Don't lie to me. I am your mother. And he was my father." She stared at him. "Your father made mistakes. What did he do?" "He fell in love with a woman he shouldn't have." "That's not what I'm asking." "Then what are you asking?" "What happened in 1708? Her face went pale. Joon-hyuk saw it. "You remember." She sat down. "Leave it alone." "No. Joon-hyuk. I've spent my entire life defending your husband." She looked at him. "You don't know what you're defending." "Then tell me." She shook her head. "I can't." "Why?" "Because your father promised me." "Promised you what?" She looked away. "That the truth would never destroy you." Joon-hyuk's anger grew. "You don't get to decide what destroys me." His mother looked at him with tears in her eyes. "I was trying to protect you." "From what?" She whispered. "From the truth about your grandfather." Joon-hyuk froze. "My grandfather?" Before she could continue, someone knocked. An assistant entered. "Madam, I'm sorry." "What?" "The Nigerian woman is here." Joon-hyuk turned. Amara stood in the doorway. She had heard enough. "Your grandfather?" His mother closed her eyes. Amara stepped inside. "Tell me what he did." The chairwoman remained silent. Amara's voice broke. "My mother spent her entire life carrying this secret. She died without telling me because she was afraid." Joon-hyuk looked at his mother. "Tell us." She finally whispered. "Your grandfather created the accounts." Joon-hyuk frowned. "What accounts?" "The money." Amara's eyes widened. "The money sent to Nigeria?" His mother nodded. "Your grandfather was secretly moving company funds." Joon-hyuk stared at her. "And my father discovered it?" "Yes." "Then why was my mother involved?" "Because she saw the documents." Amara whispered. "She was a witness." His mother nodded. "Your father wanted to expose everything." "Then why didn't he?" The chairwoman's eyes filled with tears. "Because your grandfather threatened to destroy you." Joon-hyuk stopped breathing. "My grandfather threatened me?" "You were 12. What did he say?" "That if your father exposed him, he would make sure you were blamed for the company's collapse." Joon-hyuk looked devastated. His mother continued. "Your father chose silence." Amara looked at her. "And my mother?" "He wanted her protected." "Then why did you force her to leave?" The chairwoman couldn't answer. Amara stepped closer. "You did it." "I thought I was saving my family." "You destroyed mine." The words hit the room like a slap. Joon-hyuk looked at his mother. "Is that true?" She started crying. "I was afraid." Amara shook her head. "You were protecting a name." Then she walked out. Joon-hyuk followed her. Outside, Amara stopped. "You should stay with your family." "I don't want to." "You don't know what you want." "I know I don't want to lose you." She turned. "This started because I came looking for my father." "I know. And now your family is falling apart." "I know. Maybe I should leave." Joon-hyuk stepped closer. "Don't." "Why?" "Because for the first time in my life, I know what I want." "What?" He looked at her. "You." Amara's eyes filled with tears. "You don't even know me." "I know enough." Then he kissed her. This time she kissed him back. For a few seconds the mystery disappeared. There was only the two of them. But neither knew that someone had just taken a photograph through the window. The next morning, the photograph was delivered to Joon-hyuk's mother. Her son and the Nigerian woman were kissing. Underneath it was one sentence. "If they stay together, the secret will come out." Joon-hyuk's mother stared at the photograph for several seconds. Then she called someone. "It's happening again." The voice on the other end said, "Then stop it." She closed her eyes. "I can't." "You stopped the mother." "This is my son. And if the truth comes out, you will lose him anyway." The call ended. Meanwhile, Amara woke up to dozens of messages. Her name was suddenly trending online. Someone had leaked photographs of her with Joon-hyuk. The headlines were cruel. Nigerian hotel worker linked to heir. Is the foreign employee targeting Korea's richest family? Who is Amara Okafor? Amara stared at her phone. This is impossible. Joon-hyuk entered. He saw the screen. Don't read them. They're calling me a gold digger. I'll handle it. No. Amara. I don't want you to handle everything for me. He sat beside her. You're not alone. She looked at him. Your family thinks I'm here for your money. I know. And now the entire country thinks I'm trying to trap you. I know. What happens when they find out why I'm really here? He didn't answer. She whispered. What happens when they find out I might be your father's daughter? Joon-hyuk looked at her. We don't know that. Exactly. That uncertainty had begun to hurt them both. Joon-hyuk decided to find the truth once and for all. He arranged a private DNA test. Amara agreed. The results would take several days. While they waited, they continued investigating. Then Joon-hyuk discovered something shocking. His father's private financial records contained another name. Not Samuel. Not Ngozi. Company. Myri Holdings. The company had received millions from the Han Group before transferring money to Nigeria. Joon-hyuk looked at Amara. This isn't a family payment. What is it? A corporate transaction. Why would your father send money to Nigeria through another company? I don't know. They traced the company. It had been dissolved 20 years earlier, but its registered director was still alive. An elderly Korean businessman named Choi Dae-sung. They found him living outside Seoul. When Joon-hyuk showed him the documents, the old man became nervous. You should not have come. Joon-hyuk asked. What was Myri Holdings? The man stared at Amara. Your mother knew. Amara stepped forward. Knew what? He shook his head. Your mother was never your father's lover. Amara froze. What? She was his witness. Joon-hyuk looked at him. Witness to what? The old man swallowed. The company was stealing money from overseas projects. Who? Your grandfather. Joon-hyuk's expression hardened. And my father? He found out. Then why didn't he expose him? Because the chairman's father threatened his son. Amara asked. Why was my mother involved? The old man looked at her. Because she found the evidence. Where? He hesitated. Your mother hid it. Where? I don't know. Then why did you say she knew? Because she told me. What did she say? The old man looked terrified. She said, if they ever come looking for me, tell my daughter to find the blue ledger. Amara's heart began racing. The blue ledger? He nodded. Where is it? I don't know. Then the old man looked toward the window. We have to leave. Why? Because someone knows you're here. Car stopped outside. Joon-hyuk grabbed Amara's hand. Go. They ran through the back door. The car sped away. Joon-hyuk looked at Amara. Are you okay? Yes. Are you sure? She nodded. Then she started laughing. Joon-hyuk stared at her. What? I almost died. You're laughing? I'm terrified. He smiled. That's a strange reaction. Maybe I laugh when I'm scared. Then keep laughing. She looked at him. Why? Because I like hearing it. Her smile faded into something softer. They stopped walking. For a moment, the danger around them disappeared again. Joon-hyuk touched her cheek. I don't know what happens after this. Neither do I. But I know I don't want to do it without you. Amara leaned against him. Then she whispered, I think I'm falling in love with you. He smiled. I think I already did. They kissed. But the moment was interrupted by Amara's phone. A message. I know where the blue ledger is. Another message followed. Your mother left it for you. Amara's heart pounded. She replied, Who are you? The response came immediately. Someone your mother trusted. Then an address. An old church in Seoul. They went there that night. Inside, an elderly Nigerian woman was waiting. Amara recognized her. It was one of her mother's closest friends. She had been living in Korea for decades. The woman hugged Amara. You have your mother's face. Amara started crying. Please tell me everything. The woman looked at Joon-hyuk. Is he the chairman's son? Yes. She sighed. Then he needs to hear this too. She opened a small bag. Inside was a blue leather ledger. Amara stared at it. The blue ledger. The woman nodded. Your mother gave it to me 24 years ago. Why didn't you give it to me? Because she told me not to. Why? Because she said you were too young. Amara reached for it. The woman stopped her. She also said that if you ever found it, you would need to know one thing first. What? She didn't come to Korea to have an affair with Kang Min-jae. Amara looked confused. Then why did she come? The woman stared at Joon-hyuk. She came because your father was already in danger. Joon-hyuk's eyes widened. My father? No. The woman shook her head. Your mother. Amara looked at the ledger. Then the woman whispered. Your mother came to Korea because someone was trying to kill her. Amara's fingers tightened around the ledger. Who? The woman shook her head. Your mother never told me the name. Then how do you know she was in danger? She came to me bleeding. Amara's face changed. When? 24 years ago. Why didn't you call the police? Because your mother begged me not to. Why? She said the police were already compromised. Joon-hyuk stepped forward. Compromised by whom? The woman looked at him. Your family. He went silent. Amara opened the ledger. Pages of numbers filled it. Bank accounts, dates, company names, transfers. Then she saw a familiar name. Myri Holdings. She turned the page. There were handwritten notes in her mother's handwriting. Amara read aloud. Funds transferred through offshore accounts. Chairman Kang Min-jae attempted to stop the transactions. Joon-hyuk looked stunned. My father knew. He knew, the woman confirmed. Amara turned another page, then stopped. There was a list of names. One name had been circled repeatedly. Kang Tae-sung, Joon-hyuk's grandfather. But beneath his name was another. Han Seo-yeon, his mother. Amara looked at Joon-hyuk. Your mother knew. He couldn't speak. The woman continued. Your mother did not create the crime. Amara looked at her. Then why is her name here? She helped hide it. Joon-hyuk closed his eyes. His mother had told him she was protecting him. Now the evidence suggested she had helped cover up a crime. Amara turned the page. There was a handwritten sentence. Min-jae wanted to expose everything. Seo-yeon stopped him. Joon-hyuk whispered. Why? The woman answered. Because your grandfather threatened to destroy his own son. Amara asked. What happened next? Your mother became the only person who could prove everything. And that's why she was forced to leave? Yes. Who forced her? The woman hesitated. Seo-yeon. Amara's eyes filled with tears. Joon-hyuk looked devastated. His mother had destroyed Amara's mother's life. But the story still didn't make sense. If she wanted my mother gone, Amara said. Why did my father keep sending money? The woman shook her head. Because he was trying to protect her. From his own family? Yes. Then why didn't he come to Nigeria? He tried. Amara looked at her. What? Several times. Why didn't he come? The woman looked down. Because every time he planned to leave Korea, your grandfather threatened his son. Joon-hyuk stared at her. My father stayed because of me. Yes. That revelation broke something inside him. All his life, he had believed his father had chosen the company over him. Now he realized his father may have sacrificed everything because of him. Amara reached for his hand. He squeezed it. But before they could say anything, the church doors opened. Joon-hyuk turned. His mother's assistant stood there. Chairman Kang wants the ledger. Joon-hyuk stepped in front of Amara. No. The assistant looked at him. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. He moved closer. Tell my mother I have it. The assistant hesitated, then said, She already knows. The lights suddenly went out. Amara grabbed Joon-hyuk's arm. Someone screamed. A loud crash came from the back room. When the lights returned, the elderly woman was gone. The ledger was still in Amara's hands. Joon-hyuk looked around. Where is she? Nobody knew. They left immediately. Back at the hotel, Joon-hyuk locked the doors. Amara sat on the bed, exhausted. I thought I came to Korea to find my father. He sat beside her. And now I feel like I opened a door I should have left closed. He looked at her. You're not alone. She leaned against him. I don't know what I'm going to do if the DNA test says you're related to me. Joon-hyuk went still. They had avoided discussing it. Now the possibility hung between them. What if he is my father? Amara whispered. What if you are my brother? Joon-hyuk looked away. Neither could answer. 3 days later, the DNA results arrived. Joon-hyuk held the envelope. Amara stood across from him. Open it. He couldn't. Amara, open it. He opened the envelope. Read the first line. His expression changed. Amara's heart stopped. What does it say? He looked at her. The probability is... He paused. Then, 0. Amara's eyes filled with tears. What? My father isn't your biological father. She sat down. For a moment, neither spoke. Then she laughed through her tears. So I came all the way to Korea. She wiped her face. And he wasn't even my father. Joon-hyuk sat beside her. I'm sorry. She looked at him. Then why did my mother send me here? He didn't know. But the answer was already waiting for them. The next morning, Amara received another envelope. Inside was a letter from her mother. She recognized the handwriting immediately. Her hands shook as she opened it. The first line read, My daughter, if you are reading this, then you have finally found the truth about the man you thought was your father. Amara's breathing became shallow. She continued reading. Kang Min-jae was never your father. She looked at Joon-hyuk. Then read the next line. But he was the man who saved your life. Amara stopped. Her heart pounded. The letter continued. And the person you have been searching for all your life is not who you think. Joon-hyuk leaned closer. Keep reading. Amara looked down. The next sentence was underlined. Your father is still alive. She dropped the letter. Amara couldn't move. My father is alive? Joon-hyuk picked up the letter. He read it, then looked at her. Who is he? Amara shook her head. I don't know. They read the rest. Her mother explained that she had never wanted Amara to believe Kang Min-jae was her biological father. The photograph had been a clue, not an answer. Min-jae had helped her escape Korea. He had protected her. He had supported her. But he wasn't Amara's father. The letter contained one final clue. Your father knows you exist, but he believes you are dead. Amara's hands trembled. Why would he think I'm dead? Joon-hyuk stared at the letter. Because someone told him. Who? They didn't know. Then they saw the final line. Find the man who signed my first Korean work contract. Amara looked at Joon-hyuk. What does that mean? He knew. His father's company had sponsored foreign workers and business associates. He searched the old company records. There it was. Her mother's original employment contract. The sponsor wasn't Kang Min-jae. It was another man, David Okoro. Amara stared at the name. Who is that? Joon-hyuk searched the records. Then his face changed. There's no current record. Dead. Maybe. They searched immigration records. Nothing. Then Joon-hyuk discovered a company address. It led to a small office in Busan. They traveled there. An elderly Korean receptionist recognized the name. David. Yes. He doesn't work here anymore. Do you know where he is? The woman hesitated. He returned to Nigeria. Amara's heart sank. What part? She gave them an old address. Joon-hyuk looked at Amara. That's your hometown. Amara stared at him. The man they had traveled across continents to find had been connected to her mother in Nigeria all along. But why had her mother sent her to Korea? They returned to Seoul. Amara couldn't stop thinking about it. Then Joon-hyuk found something else. A photograph. His father standing beside Ngozi. And another man, The man's face was partially hidden, but on the back was written, Gozi, Minjae, David, Seoul 2002. Amara stared at the third man. She didn't recognize him. Joon-hyuk zoomed in on the photograph. Then he looked at Amara. Wait. What? He pointed. Look at his hands. She frowned. What about them? He's wearing the same ring as the man in another photograph. What photograph? Joon-hyuk opened an old family album. There was a photograph of his grandfather, wearing the same ring. Amara's blood ran cold. That's impossible. Joon-hyuk looked at the dates. His grandfather's photograph was from years earlier. The ring was identical. David worked for your grandfather, Joon-hyuk said. Amara stared at him. Then why did my mother tell me to find him? Because he knows who your father is. They called the number attached to the old company. Connected. A man's voice answered. Hello. Amara froze. Is this David? Silence. Then, who is this? My name is Amara Okafor. The line went completely quiet. Amara's heart pounded. How do you know my name? He whispered. Your mother told me you would come. Joon-hyuk leaned closer. Who is Amara's father? The man didn't answer. Amara asked. Please. David sighed. I was hoping you would never find me. Why? Because the truth will destroy more than one family. What truth? You are not supposed to know this. I deserve to know who my father is. David was silent. Then he said, Your father is. The line suddenly went dead. Joon-hyuk tried calling back. Nothing. Amara stared at the phone. Who was he going to name? They didn't know. Then Joon-hyuk's phone rang. His mother. He answered. Mother. Her voice was trembling. Where are you? Why? Because your grandfather's people are looking for you. Joon-hyuk froze. My grandfather is dead. His mother replied. No. Silence. What? He died publicly. Joon-hyuk couldn't breathe. His mother continued. He has been alive this entire time. The call ended. Amara stared at Joon-hyuk. What did she say? He looked at her. My grandfather is alive. Everything suddenly changed. The man who had supposedly died years ago may have been alive all along. The man connected to the financial crimes. The man who threatened Joon-hyuk's father. The man who had forced Amara's mother into silence. Joon-hyuk stood. We need to find him. They discovered a private estate outside Seoul. Security surrounded it. They couldn't get inside. Then a message arrived on Amara's phone. Come alone if you want to meet your father. Amara showed Joon-hyuk. No. I have to go. You're not going alone. If they expect you, they'll hurt you. I don't care. I do. He looked at her. Why? Because I love you. He went silent. She stepped closer. I've lost my mother. I spent my whole life not knowing my father. I can't lose you too. He held her. I won't let them take you. They went together. Inside the estate, they found an elderly man sitting beside a window. Joon-hyuk froze. Grandfather. The man smiled. You've grown. Joon-hyuk stepped forward. You're alive. Yes. Why? Because dead men don't get blamed. Amara stepped forward. You know my mother. The old man looked at her, then smiled. I knew you would eventually come. Who is my father? He stared at her. You've been looking in the wrong place. Tell me. He leaned forward. Your mother didn't come to Korea because of Minjae. Then why? He smiled. She came because your father was already here. Amara's breath caught. Who? The old man looked at Joon-hyuk, then back at Amara. Your father. He stopped. Suddenly the lights went out. A gunshot sounded outside. Joon-hyuk grabbed Amara and pulled her to the floor. The old man disappeared into the darkness. When the lights returned, he was gone. On the table was a single photograph. Amara picked it up. Her mother, Minjae, David, and one more man. The man's face was visible this time. Amara stared, then whispered, No! Joon-hyuk looked at her. What? She turned the photograph around. The man was her mother's former employer in Nigeria. The man Amara had grown up calling Uncle Samuel. Amara couldn't breathe. My uncle. Joon-hyuk stared at the photograph. That's Samuel. He told me he was my mother's brother. He may have lied. Amara shook her head. No. She remembered his face, his voice, the way he had protected her. The money, the silence, everything suddenly looked different. Joon-hyuk picked up the photograph. Your uncle was in Korea 24 years ago. Then why did he pretend he wasn't? They returned to Seoul. Amara called Samuel. No answer. Again. Nothing. Then she received a message. You finally understand. Her hands trembled. Another message followed. Your mother wanted to protect you from me. Amara stared at the screen. Joon-hyuk looked over her shoulder. Call the police. No. Amara. If my uncle knows the truth, I need to hear it from him. They returned to the old hotel. Room 1708. The room where everything had started. There, Amara found something hidden behind the wall panel. Another envelope. Her mother's handwriting. She opened it. My daughter, if you have reached this point, then you know Kang Min-jae wasn't your father. Amara's tears fell. You also know Samuel was never my brother. Joon-hyuk looked at her. Amara continued reading. He was the man I loved before I met Min-jae. She stopped. The room went silent. Her father wasn't Korean. He was Nigerian. Samuel was the man her mother had once loved. But why had he lied? The letter continued. Samuel came to Korea with me because we were trying to expose the Han family's financial crimes. We were young. We believed the truth would protect us. Amara's hands shook. But Samuel betrayed us. Joon-hyuk stared at the page. He sold the evidence to your grandfather. Amara covered her mouth. That's why your mother was forced to leave, Joon-hyuk said. The letter explained everything. Samuel had not been her mother's brother. He had been her lover. He had helped the Han family cover up the financial scheme. But when he discovered Ngozi was pregnant, he wanted to take responsibility. He couldn't. He feared the Han family. So Ngozi returned to Nigeria alone. She raised Amara without telling her the truth. Kang Min-jae discovered what had happened. He tried to protect Ngozi and Amara. That's why he sent money. That's why he kept the hotel records. That's why he kept room 1708's key. He had spent decades trying to repair a mistake he hadn't caused. And Joon-hyuk's mother had helped him. Not because she hated Ngozi. Because she was terrified of Kang Tae-sung, the patriarch who controlled the entire family. But there was still one question. Why did Samuel tell Amara that he was her uncle? The final page answered it. He wanted to return to you, but he was afraid you would hate him. Amara closed her eyes. He was my father. Joon-hyuk took her hand. Yes, she cried. I spent my whole life thinking he abandoned me. He did. She looked at him. But he was also afraid. That doesn't excuse it. No. Joon-hyuk pulled her into his arms. You don't have to forgive him today. Amara cried against his chest. For the first time, she wasn't searching. She finally knew. But the story wasn't over. Because Samuel had one last confession. He contacted Amara. They met at the hotel. He looked older than she remembered. Amara stared at him. You lied to me. Samuel's eyes filled with tears. I know. You told me you were my uncle. I was afraid. You abandoned my mother. I did. You let me grow up without a father. I know. Why? He lowered his head. Because I was a coward. Amara cried. I spent 24 years wondering what was wrong with me. There was nothing wrong with you. Then why didn't you come? Because your grandfather threatened to kill your mother. And you believed him? Yes. You should have protected us. I know. Amara turned away. Samuel said, I don't expect forgiveness. She looked back. Good. He nodded. But I want you to know something. What? Your mother never hated you for asking about me. Amara's face crumpled. She loved you. Samuel handed her a letter. Your mother wrote this before she died. Amara opened it. The words were simple. Amara, your father failed you, but that failure was never your fault. Don't spend your life carrying the shame of choices made by adults. Amara cried. Joon-hyuk stood beside her. The family secret was finally exposed. Joon-hyuk released his father's records. The Han group faced a massive scandal. His grandfather's crimes became public. The old man was arrested. Joon-hyuk's mother confessed to helping hide the truth. She faced legal consequences. The family empire began collapsing. Joon-hyuk resigned from several positions. When Amara asked him why, he said, I spent my whole life trying to inherit something my father never wanted me to inherit. What did he want? A life where I could choose who I wanted to be. Amara smiled through tears. And now I choose. He took her hand. I choose you. Months later, Amara returned to Nigeria. She visited her mother's grave. She placed the old photograph beside it. The photograph of Ngozi, Min-jae, and the young man who had once betrayed her. Amara knelt. I found him, Mama. She smiled sadly. I found my father. Then she whispered, and I found someone else. She looked at the ring on her finger. He's Korean. She laughed through her tears. You would have teased me about that. Back in Seoul, Joon-hyuk waited outside the hotel. The same hotel. The same entrance. The same place where Amara had first insulted him. When she approached, he smiled. You're late. She raised an eyebrow. You waited 6 months for me. I can wait 6 minutes. She laughed. He held out his hand. She took it. You know, she said, when I first met you, I thought you were the most arrogant man in Korea. And now, still arrogant. He smiled. But, she stepped closer. I love you. He kissed her forehead. The woman who had arrived in Seoul with one photograph and a suitcase had finally found the answer she had spent her entire life searching for. But she had discovered something more important. Family wasn't always the people who shared your blood. Sometimes it was the person who stayed when everything else fell apart. And sometimes the journey that begins with a search for a father ends with finding a home. If this story kept you watching until the end, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Untold Afro-Korean Stories, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next emotional story. And tell us in the comments, if you were Amara, would you forgive Samuel for hiding the truth for 24 years? Or would you walk away forever? Because sometimes the hardest secrets aren't the ones people keep from us. They're the ones they keep because they believe the truth will hurt less if we never know it. And Amara's story proved one thing. The truth may arrive late, but when it finally comes, it changes everything. Amara couldn't breathe. My uncle. Joon-hyuk stared at the photograph. That's Samuel. He told me he was my mother's brother. He may have lied. Amara shook her head. No. She remembered his face, his voice, the way he had protected her, the money, the silence. Everything suddenly looked different. Joon-hyuk picked up the photograph. Your uncle was in Korea 24 years ago. Then why did he pretend he wasn't? They returned to Seoul. Amara called Samuel. No answer. Again. Nothing. Then she received a message. You finally understand. Her hands trembled. Another message followed. Your mother wanted to protect you from me. Amara stared at the screen. Joon-hyuk looked over her shoulder. Call the police. No. Amara. If my uncle knows the truth, I need to hear it from him. They returned to the old hotel. Room 1708. The room where everything had started. There, Amara found something hidden behind the wall panel. Another envelope. Her mother's handwriting. She opened it. My daughter. If you have reached this point, then you know Kang Min-jae wasn't your father. Amara's tears fell. You also know Samuel was never my brother. Joon-hyuk looked at her. Amara continued reading. He was the man I loved before I met Min-jae. She stopped. The room went silent. Her father wasn't Korean. He was Nigerian. Samuel was the man her mother had once loved. But why had he lied? The letter continued. Samuel came to Korea with me because we were trying to expose the Han family's financial crimes. We were young. We believed the truth would protect us. Amara's hands shook. But Samuel betrayed us. Joon-hyuk stared at the page. He sold the evidence to your grandfather. Amara covered her mouth. That's why your mother was forced to leave, Joon-hyuk said. The letter explained everything. Samuel had not been her mother's brother. He had been her lover. He had helped the Han family cover up the financial scheme. But when he discovered Ngozi was pregnant, he wanted to take responsibility. He couldn't. He feared the Han family. So Ngozi returned to Nigeria alone. She raised Amara without telling her the truth. Kang Min-jae discovered what had happened. He tried to protect Ngozi and Amara. That's why he sent money. That's why he kept the hotel records. That's why he kept room 1708's key. He had spent decades trying to repair a mistake he hadn't caused. And Joon-hyuk's mother had helped him. Not because she hated Ngozi, because she was terrified of Kang Tae-sung, the patriarch who controlled the entire family. But there was still one question. Why did Samuel tell Amara that he was her uncle? The final page answered it. He wanted to return to you, but he was afraid you would hate him. Amara closed her eyes. He was my father. Joon-hyuk took her hand. Yes, she cried. I spent my whole life thinking he abandoned me. He did. She looked at him. But he was also afraid. That doesn't excuse it. No. Joon-hyuk pulled her into his arms. You don't have to forgive him today. Amara cried against his chest. For the first time, she wasn't searching. She finally knew. But the story wasn't over. Because Samuel had one last confession. He contacted Amara. They met at the hotel. He looked older than she remembered. Amara stared at him. You lied to me. Samuel's eyes filled with tears. I know. You told me you were my uncle. I was afraid. You abandoned my mother. I did. You let me grow up without a father. I know. Why? He lowered his head. Because I was a coward. Amara cried. I spent 24 years wondering what was wrong with me. There was nothing wrong with you. Then why didn't you come? Because your grandfather threatened to kill your mother. And you believed him? Yes. You should have protected us. I know. Amara turned away. Samuel said, I don't expect forgiveness. She looked back. Good. He nodded. But I want you to know something. What? Your mother never hated you for asking about me. Amara's face crumpled. She loved you. Samuel handed her a letter. Your mother wrote this before she died. Amara opened it. The words were simple. Amara, your father failed you. But that failure was never your fault. Don't spend your life carrying the shame of choices made by adults. Amara cried. Joon-hyuk stood beside her. The family secret was finally exposed. Joon-hyuk released his father's records. The Han group faced a massive scandal. His grandfather's crimes became public. The old man was arrested. Joon-hyuk's mother confessed to helping hide the truth. She faced legal consequences. The family empire began collapsing. Joon-hyuk resigned from several positions. When Amara asked him why, he said, I spent my whole life trying to inherit something my father never wanted me to inherit. What did he want? A life where I could choose who I wanted to be. Amara smiled through tears. And now I choose. He took her hand. I choose you. Months later, Amara returned to Nigeria. She visited her mother's grave. She placed the old photograph beside it. The photograph of Ngozi, Min-jae, and the young man who had once betrayed her. Amara knelt. I found him, Mama. She smiled sadly. I found my father. Then she whispered, and I found someone else. She looked at the ring on her finger. He's Korean. She laughed through her tears. You would have teased me about that. Back in Seoul, Joon-hyuk waited outside the hotel. The same hotel. The same entrance. The same place where Amara had first insulted him. When she approached, he smiled. You're late. She raised an eyebrow. You waited 6 months for me. I can wait 6 minutes. She laughed. He held out his hand. She took